Hello, hello, it's Rebecca from Rebecca Ink. Today we are going to draw a pig. Whoops, forgot to set up my time lapse. So hold on 1 second here. It's going to end up looking like this pig here. What you need to join in is gather up a piece of paper, a pencil, a marker, and an eraser or an eraser. All right, so put me on pause, get your supplies, and come on back. All right, I'm going to move my guide. Today, our paper is going to be horizontal. It's going to be this way. All righty, grab your pencil. I'm going to use a marker so that you can see me just a little bit better. You use your pencil, okay? We're going to start on the right side of our paper, right about here, with a circle that is kind of fat and maybe a little squared off. So let's get our hand going from our shoulder. The only part that's resting on the table is our palm. And we're going to draw a circle about like that. Now, as you can see from my circle, I go around and around to get my shape. This one, I wanted it to be a little more squared off. This is going to be the face of our pig. So I want it to be circular but also square. That makes sense. And it's not perfect, so yours won't be perfect either. Don't expect it to be, just roll with it, have a little fun with me. All right, off to the left of that circle, up at the top, we're going to add a smaller circle. For this one, it's small enough I can just use my hand. I'm going to connect it to that face circle, and I'm just going to go round and round I go in a nice circular shape, about like that. As you go around and around, you are arriving, we'll say, at that shape. Off of that one, do another smaller circle. Now let's do some connecting triangles, as I like to call them. You're really just drawing one section of that triangle, but here's the whole thing right there. One at the bottom there, and then one at the top, just like that. And at the end of that shape, let's add in a teeny tiny triangle, just like that. We're going to use a circle, and a triangle to get the shape of our ear there. All right, let's go over to the other side, and on this side, because of the way our pig is turned, we're going to do an oval. Round and round I go. My wrist is planted, my forearm is planted, and I'm just using my fingers. Then another one next to that, a little bit smaller, and that triangle we talked about on the last one at the end. Now let's connect all of our shapes with some connecting triangles. One there. I'm going to let this one leave that part alone. Come up here, let's do one here. And on this one, let's connect it this way. So here's our triangular shape, as I say, connecting triangle, but we're just drawing that top part. Let's add in another one over here to connect our little ear. All right, let's move on to the face of our pig. The eyes of the pig are kind of wide set, so we're going to draw a circle here and a circle here. They're small enough, again, that you can plant your wrist, and just with your fingers, round and round you go. All right, this shape, we're just kind of use it for where to put our eye. So nice and light, we're drawing. And this will give us like where to put the eyebrow, and then like that, if you look at your own eyes, if you have like sleepy eyes and you see the bags, that bone there. All right, inside that circle, we are going to add another circle right about in the center. It's even smaller still. And inside that, up off to the left, another circle. Same thing on the other side, right about in the middle. Round and round we go. Add in a smaller one for the highlight. All right, now we need some arcs. So plant your wrist, and we're just going to go right over top, just like that. And if you want to, you can rotate your paper. I'm just going to kind of shift in my chair here, plant my wrist, and over the top of that one. When I say plant your wrist, I mean keep it nice and still, and then your hand will be forced to go in that natural arc motion. It just kind of makes your body work for you in that regard. All right, on to the nose of our pig. The best part about the pig is, of course, the snout. So we're going to arrive at our snout shape with two ovals. One right about here, plant your wrist, Round and round you go till you get an oval. It's kind of angled a little bit. Now, on the other side, stack an oval right up next to that. And what this does is breaks it up so we know where the centers are going to be, and also gives us this cute little shape at the bottom. We're going to connect that with a little arc. So we get our connecting triangle, but this time we're doing it with an arc. It'll help give us that shape. Inside each of these ovals, we're going to add a little circle for the nostril and another little circle for the nostril. All right, couple options for how to do what we're up to next. You can either do a full circle right here, kind of looping onto that oval and do a full circle like that. Let's see if I can get my marker to go nice and light. Full circle like this. Oh, there we go. Or you can do an arc and then move your wrist a little and another arc like that. So I'm using the full circle idea to know where to put those arcs. So there's a couple options for you there. Now, right above where we've got the top of that snout, right above this mark here, we're going to add in another little arc. All right, so we've kind of pushed the snout off of the face that way. All right, moving down from there, we're going to go down to the chest of our piggy with an angled rectangle. So kind of tucked in off of our face circle here, we're just going to add a diagonal line here. And to get this, I'm just planting my wrist and going back and forth again. Same thing over here. Plant your wrist back and forth and then connect those two. When I'm connecting them, I am lifting my hand and using my wrist as kind of my angle there. And then I'm going to divide that shape in half. That'll come in handy in a little bit, but for now we're just drawing a angled rectangle and then dividing it in half. All right, now let's move back and do the body, and then we'll add in our legs. The body is going to be made of 3 ovals. This first one is tucked up next to this face, and it is tall and skinny. It's going to come, my goodness, my marker's disappearing. It's going to come down, tuck right next to that rectangle we just drew, and up. So just like that. Plant your wrist. Round and round you go. Tall and skinny. All right, next up we're going to do a longer one. This one is going to go right off of that oval we just did, back like this, and meet up with it. We want it to kind of, it's okay if it comes just slightly above. I'm looking at my references here. Just like that. So it's a little fatter and a little longer. So we've got one tall skinny oval, one longer fat oval. Now we're going to do an angled oval that's just a little bit fatter than that one off the back, right about here. This one is large enough that I am moving my whole arm from my shoulder. Just this part of my hand is touching the paper. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3 ovals there. All right, now we're going to connect those ovals with an arc at the top for the back of our piggy, for his back. My marker keeps not wanting to work. There we go. I'm planting my wrist, moving my hand in that motion, in that arc, to get that shape. Let's go off the back of this oval here, up toward the top. We're going to have a little curly cue, just like that. Just kind of a loop for the tail, and then if you want to, you can go down and around and then just follow it back. Or if you want to draw an E and connect it, you could do that too. Different ways to arrive at the same shapes. All right, off the base of that back oval, we're going to add in some rectangles for the back leg. So let's do that. This one is going to be angled just like this. Off there. There's one. And then coming down off of that, that would be like from the hip to the knee if you were doing a human. Now we're going to go knee to ankle. This would be like drawing our calf. All right, and then off the bottom of that, we're gonna add one long skinny rectangle, another long skinny rectangle, and a connecting triangle. It's just ever so slight. I'm not even sure if you can see that, but these will help give us the hoof. All right, now we need to connect this bottom part. Their bellies are, we're gonna kind of do like a little swoosh here. We're gonna angle it from that top of that rectangle or the base of this oval, right about here where these two things meet up. We're gonna go at a little bit of an angle and then a little bit of a curve over to connect. So we've gone over and then over. See that? Didn't have a good way to describe that to you. It is a connecting triangle, but we've kind of broken it up, that line, into two different ones. All right, let's do the back leg now. Same idea as the front leg, but we're not going to see the top of it. So we're just going to draw that angled rectangle, just like that. And then from the knee to the ankle, just like this. Angled back the other way. This one is thicker at the top, skinnier at the bottom, if that makes sense. And two rectangles at the base, one there, and then that connecting triangle again. All right, now we need to make sure that our front leg kind of matches up with our back leg. So we're going to give ourselves a little guide here. I'm going to rest my, the pad of my hand on the ground or on the table, and I'm just going to kind of draw a slight diagonal line back and forth like that. I want my front leg, the one that's closest to me in the front, to sit on this line. So now that I know that, I'm going to go up here. This oval that we drew here is going to end up being like the shoulder of our pig. So our little leg is going to come down off of that shoulder, and we're going to break that up into a long rectangle. It's going to come down like that. Just like that. If you want to draw the whole thing, there it is. But we're just going to see to where it connects. And then a short square. And two little rectangles off of that. Well, I guess this one looks more like a square. One square there. One square there. And that connecting triangle. Now that back leg, it doesn't have to match up exactly with this one, but it's not going to sit on that plane. It's going to sit back to maybe about here. Okay, so it's not going to be the same length because it's behind. All right, we're going to do the same thing along a rectangle here. You're doing really good. And then a rectangle here. Same idea. Let's do a fatter one on this side this time and a skinnier one. And then let's do a connecting triangle from that top down to the knee. All right, we've got all the shapes that we need to draw our little pig. So set down your pencil, pick up your marker. I'm using a Sharpie. You can use whatever kind of marker you have on hand, just as long as you can't erase it. That's what you need. Let's start up at the top. For our little pig, we are going to go around the top part of the circle, over to that connecting triangle, hop on there, go around the circle, connecting triangle, to the tip of that triangle. Then we're going to come back down the triangle, onto the connecting triangle, around that circle, and stop. All right, now inside this ear, we didn't draw a shape for this, but I think you got it. We are just going to plant our wrists, and up by the top there, we're going to add in a little arc for detail. That little crease in their cute little ears right there. All right, let's move over and do the other ear. We're going to go connecting triangle around the top of that, over that oval, over that oval, onto that triangle, down and around, and stop there. Same thing on this one. We're going to do that, that arc, but this time let's start it, you know where we had our big fat circle for the face? Let's give a hint of that circle and then do our little ear movement there. What that's going to do for us is push that ear to the back of the pig's head. All right, now on to the eyes. Let's do the actual eyes first, and then I'll tell you what to do with that circle that places our eyes in the right spot. We're just going to go right over our arc, trace right over, around our eye circle, and fill in everything but that little highlighted circle. That highlight gives our little pig's eyes some definition, can also give an idea as to where they're looking. Depending on how big or how small you make that highlight, it can give hints of moods. It can look happy, it can look angry. So those little highlights are important, and you can play with them. The bigger you make them, the sweeter your animal looks. The smaller you make them might show maybe anger or something like that. So play around with that when you're drawing on your own. It's kind of fun. You can see how you alter the feeling of your animal with those highlights. Okay, around this circle, we are going to put a few dots up at the top here, following along the top part of that circle, and a few dots down here following along the bottom of that circle. So we're going to start, if you went right up from that arc, I'm just going to start there, and just every so often put a dot until you come in a diagonal from that corner. Now around the bottom, kind of in line with your eye, we're just going to put a couple dots like that. Let's go over and do the same thing on this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I usually like to do my stuff in an odd number. It's supposed to be more pleasing, but if it doesn't work out for spacing, it's okay. Okay, so see how on this one, we have a little bit that overlaps our face circle? We're going to use that to help us get the shape of our face. So we're going to go down that eye circle just ever so slightly, and then down around the face and stop. It's going to kind of just do the side of his face. All right, moving over to this side where we had his face circle and it kind of overlaps the shoulder area there, we're going to just go around that edge like that. Now we're ready to do the nose. Now for the nose, we can go around the outsides of these shapes. So let's start up at the top, go around the edge of that oval, around the bottom, connecting triangle, and then I'm going to go back up just so you can see a little bit better, down the edge of that oval and connect. Now for the nose, the nostrils, I'm just going to fill in that circle and fill in that circle. Then I'm going to add in where we had that circle that we drew. You either drew a circle or some arcs. We're just going to add in the little marks along that. So along the bottom of that circle, I'm just going to trace a little bit along the bottom for the smile. And I'm going to give it a little arc like that. Make it look like they're up to something. Then I'm going to go over just a little bit of that circle. And a little arc right there over the nose. All right, let's move on the back and we'll work our way up to this part. Along this ear, okay, we've got this oval here for the shoulder. Right where that meets up with our ear, this little line right here, we're just going to give a little hint of that. It's be like a muscle that they've got there. Then we're just going to go along the back, over the top of that oval, over that connecting triangle, around the back there, and stop when you get to the leg. So we just went over that. Now, I chose to break this up into 3 shapes instead of just doing one big oval because the way that these shapes fall are going to help give us some, for lack of a better word, bony landmarks. Where the shoulder is, where the arm tucks into the body, where the rib cage falls. So that's why I chose to break that up that way. And you'll see that makes sense as we draw along a little bit more. Let's do the tail now. We can just trace right over our lines for that little guy. Get our little squiggly tail going. And let's do the front leg first. So it's met up with our back circle. Now we're just going to go around the outside edges of our rectangle. So we're going to go this one, shoulder to elbow, elbow to ankle. Now here is where we hop on our connecting triangle. We go over our rectangle and up just a little bit for the hoof, over our rectangle, and then just right up the edges of those shapes. Now when we get up here, we're going to hop onto that oval and go up just almost to where it meets up with our big oval. This would be where the hip would be on our pig. So we're going to go up just a little bit. And once we get there, we are going to draw a little triangular line coming back down. All right, now we're going to draw along the bottom here. We're just going to trace right over what we had, the triangle that we broke up with a angle up and then a little slight curve around the base of this oval over to the other arm. Around that to that arm, and stop. Let's do this back leg here. We're just going to trace right around the edges, the outside part of all our shapes. When we get down to the foot, we're going to draw right over that connecting triangle around the edges of that rectangle and in just a little bit, back down to that edge, over, and up. All right, onto this front leg. We're going to use that oval. Again, we used a hint of the shoulder. Now we're going to use it to give a hint of where that arm is starting. I'm going to go about, what would that be? Not quite halfway up. And then down around the edge of that rectangle, onto that smaller square, connecting triangle, hint of a hoof, back up we go. When we get up here, we're going to hop back on that oval just a little bit. All right, now we are ready for this shape here. On this shape, we're going to come over to right about here. So I'll show you, we'll start at that spot and connect over. We're going to go across there and just about 3/4 of the way across the leg. If you can see that since I drew in marker. Now we're going to go back and draw in the leg around the edges again. Around the connecting triangle to our rectangles, around the hoof and up, around that hoof and up, and back up. We're going to hop right on that angle there. Now the shape, when we drew the angled rectangle and I had us cut it in half, we're going to use that cut it in half line, and we're just going to draw a little hint of it there and a little hint of it there, for like a little fat that they've got there. All right, I'm going to add in a little arc right below that nostril there. I didn't have us do that, but we're going to add that. A few shadows and we're all set. So let's work from the back up to the front. Where we have the back leg meeting up with the body and we drew up and then over, we're just going to add in a little connecting triangle there and fill that in. Give us a little shadow there. On this back leg, to help push it to the back, we're going to do a little connecting triangle right there and fill that in. And then just draw a little thicker along that top edge. What that does is it pushes that back leg. It's got a shadow from the body, so it pushes it to the back. Same thing with underneath this tummy here. We're going to have a little bit of a shadow here because this isn't going to see the light of day. It's starting to be the underbelly of our piggy. Same thing where we've got this leg meeting up with our rectangular part of the body there. We're going to draw a little line straight down to make a connecting triangle there and over. And then on this back leg, where we drew the line that went in front of the rectangle there, we're just going to draw a little arc down and fill that in. All right, I think we have it all and we are ready to erase. So sit on your marker and grab your eraser. I'm going to switch to my guide because I drew this one in pencil and I will erase right along with you. I like the white artistic erasers, but you can also use the back of a pencil as well. Steady your paper with your non-drawing hand. Back and forth you go and erase. Send me your drawings. I absolutely love seeing them. So if you're watching this on Facebook Live, send me your drawings in the comments right below. I love seeing them. They help me know how to teach you what to say so I can explain things better. And I will let them live in the comments forever, and I will also put them up on my website, RebeccaInk.com, under an area called Interact. You can, oh my goodness, I need to focus on what I'm doing. Move your non-drawing hand along with you so you don't crinkle your drawing like I'm doing. You can only do so many things at once. Apparently erasing and talking is asking too much of me today. All right, so we're almost done here, and you're going to be so surprised at the cute little pig we created with ovals and a couple diagonal lines and rectangles. There you go, your sweet pig. Send me your drawings, RebeccaInk.com. I'll put them on the Interact tab there. You can find Rebecca Ink on Facebook and on YouTube. I'll have these tutorials up in my videos, and you can follow me on Instagram at RebeccaInkabink to see what I'm working on in my studio. So thanks for drawing with me today. Stay healthy, be kind, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.